Hi, good day, madam and classmate. Today I will be presenting my final assessment for the subject Supply Chain of Management, which is based on the case study 5. So this presentation focuses on the challenges faced by the global food supply chain in the year 2025, especially due to climate change and trade instability and food nationalism. So in 2035, global trade reached a record level of 35 trillion US dollar. However, the food supply chain became increasingly vulnerable due to extreme climate conditions and protectionist trade policies. This case study highlights that traditional just-in-time supply chain system are no longer suitable. Before the integration of technologies such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, and diversified sourcing is necessary to ensure resilience and food security. Although global trade continued to grow in 2025, the agri-food sector faced serious disruption. Climate-related issues such as drought and flood caused unstable agricultural output, leading to food shortage and rising price. As a result, the supply chain management must shift its focus from cost efficiency to resilience and risk management. One real-world example is Spanish olive oil crisis in 2024. Spain, as the world's largest olive oil producer experienced severe drought, reducing production by almost 50%. They exposed a concentration risk where global supply relied too heavily on one region. Additionally, food fraud increased as price rose, forcing companies to implement blockchain traceability to protect product authenticity. Another example is India ban on non-basmati rice export between 2024 and 25. Since India controlled around 40% of global rice trade, this decision caused panic buying and supply shortage worldwide. Countries like Thailand and Vietnam experienced increased demand, loading to port congestion and logistic delays. Even after the ban was lifted, many companies permanently diversify their sourcing due to the loss of trust. One major problem highlighted in this case is volatility of agricultural yields. Extreme weather conditions caused seasonal yield variation up to 20%. This led to a supply side bullwhip effect, where a small reduction at farm level caused a large price increase at a wholesale and retail level. This shows how sensitive food supply chains are to the climate disruption. Another critical issue is food nationalism, where the country restricts food export to protect domestic supply. While this helps a local market, it severely affects import-dependent countries and disrupt global sourcing strategies. At the same time, extreme heat place pressure on the cold chain logistics. Refrigerated containers require more energy, increasing costs, carbon emission, and spoilage risk. To address this challenge, the SCORE model must be adapted for resilience in the planning stage. Companies should adopt scenario-based forecasting instead of relying on single forecast. Insourcing firms should practice a multi-sourcing across different regions to reduce climate risk. In delivery, AI-based dynamic routing should be used to avoid disrupted port or shipping route. And according to the traffic metrics, many commodities have shifted into the strategic quadrant. These items now carry a high supply risk and a high profit impact. Therefore, the company should more focus on long-term partnership with the suppliers rather than transactional buying. Investing in climate resilient farming technology can help ensure long-term supply stability. In conclusion, the case study showed that efficiency alone is no longer sufficient in supply chain management. Company must adopt AI-driven digital twins to predict disruption, blockchain for traceability, and nearshoring strategies to reduce transit risk. The key lesson is that resilience must be built into supply chain strategies to survive and succeed in the global trade environment beyond 2025. Thank you.